Okay, today we're going to talk about question 6 for our maths assignment. Now, for this question, you're going to have to get your deductive skills happening because we are going to try and see if we can solve a crime. So, police are investigating a crime that was committed at Carindale a couple of nights ago. There were 3 clues at the scene. So there was a glove where the middle finger is 11.5 centimeters long. There's a leather jacket indicating that the owner had a measurement of 160 centimeters arm span. So there was also a hat, which is size 7 and measures 65 centimeters around the band. So we have to use these clues along with our graphing skills to work out who actually committed this crime. Now there are 3 suspects. We have Ms. Andrews, who is 165 centimetres tall, Mr. Baker, and he's 189 centimetres tall, and there's Mr. Cooper, who is 179 centimetres tall. Now we're going to need to use all the information provided to work this out. So we need to use the sample set of data as well. Now I've actually already done the first step for you, and instead of you having to cut and paste from that set of data, I've done it for you. So there is a document on Blackboard that we're going to use. So we're going to need to open that now. So we're going to go to Blackboard, Course Assessment under Maths, and scrolling down to the bottom, actually I'm going to just turn my edit mode off. Scrolling down to the bottom to question 6, data already collated. Thank you, Mrs. Ray. No problems. All right, so going into Excel, and it should look like this. We're not actually going to worry about using this part of it because we've already cut and pasted. Actually, just to let you know, I also have Mr. Payton's help on this. Thank you to Mr. Payton. All right, so we're going to use the information on arm span versus height, finger length versus height, and head versus height. So we need to create 3 scatter plot graphs, one from each set of information, to see if we can work out who the suspect is. Let me see if we can just have a look at this question again and make sure I haven't forgotten to talk to you about anything. So you're going to compare the data regarding the height. So the height is a big factor you need to look at, and then look at the other clues here and see which one has a greatest correlation with the height, so that you'll be able to work out who the person is that actually committed this crime. Okay, so we need to do these 3 scatter plots as I've discussed before. We need to make the height the vertical y-axis and add a trend line. Okay, so we might go back and forth just to make sure we've done everything here. So first of all, we're going to create these scatter plots. So I'm going to go back to Excel. So I need to highlight the information that I want to do a scatter plot on. Then I'm going insert here, insert, and then I'm going to recommended. And the first one is the one that it's recommending, so I'll do that one. All right, now I'm going to move this away over here so that I can work on it. So we actually need to put the y-axis, so this vertical axis, as the height. We're going to need to change the title of our graph. So I'm just going to click on the graph here. So I'm going to go to Add Chart Element, Axes Titles. I'm going to go Primary Vertical, and I'm going to change this to height in centimeters. Right, now I'm going to go to Add Chart Element again, Axes Titles, and I'm going to do the horizontal. So this is actually the arm span. So these are the arm span measurements in centimeters. I might just put it in brackets. Okay. So as you can see, this data is all squished over here and it's really hard to see. So what we need to do now is change the measurements here on the graph to make them a bit more in line with where the data actually is. So I'm going to actually right mouse click. Whoops. No, right mouse click, Mrs. Ray. Okay, and then I'm going to go to Format Axis. Now I'm going to move this across so I can see. If we look here, the minimum is 0 at the moment, but we don't need the minimum to be 0 because the minimum is actually about just before 140. So I'm going to change the minimum here to 135. And the maximum automatically changes to 175, and that seems to be fine. All right, so that's the horizontal axis here. Now we want to change the vertical axis. At the moment it's 0 to 200, but we don't need anything even 100 and maybe 150. I can try 150 and see what that looks like. $150 to $195. That looks all right. Okay, so I've changed the axes to match. Now we haven't done a title yet, so I'm going to change this title here to it's finger versus height. And that's my graph. Oh, actually, sorry. Oh, no, I moved everything. It's arm span. Okay. So there you can see I have done it now. It's a bit easier to read the data from this graph. Okay, we're going to do the same thing now with finger versus height. So I'm highlighting it. And I'm going to insert charts, recommended charts, and just move it so woo, I can see it. And this is my better change this straight away so I don't get confused like last time. Finger versus height. Okay, did you remember we've got to add chart element and go axes titles? Vertical, so remembering the vertical has to always be the height. In centimeters, I'm going to make it the same. And then chart element horizontal, and this is finger in centimeters. Righty-ho. Now, remember we right-click, Format Axis, and I'm going to change it to, looks around about 7. So the minimum, I'm going to make it 7, and the maximum is, looks like we can still leave it as 11. That'd be all right. Okay, now I'm going to click on this one, and we're changing it to, oh, it's very scrunched, is it? So 155, let's try that one, to 195. All right, that looks all right. Everything looks good. Okay. And then I would do the final one. I'm not going to really do it for you because it's just the same. So you can do the third one yourself, head versus height, and work out what you actually need to do with your scatter plots. Now you need to use this information then to answer the question. So down here, oh, we didn't add a trend line. We need to do that. Okay, we'll do that in a minute. So down here you actually have to decide which of the 3 body measurements has the greatest correlation with the height, so matches with the height that it should be. So which data is closest to the straight line, and we're going to add the straight line in a minute. And then you need to write a paragraph to explain which suspect should be arrested and why. So you need to include all these things in your paragraph, so you need to make sure you cover all of this. And we'll just add a trend line now to our graphs. Right, so I just need to click on whichever graph I'm going to add the trend line to. I'll just go to add chart element again, trend line, and we were asked to do a linear trend line, so that's this one. We'll do the same to our of the graphs and a linear trend line. Okay, so that may help you with the information there to work it out. Now don't forget you have to do one more graph. I've only done 2 for you. And then you have to write your paragraph to tell us who the suspect is answering those questions. Good luck.